Coming up on Fulton Today, Fulton commissioners give residents a chance to speak out about the 2019 proposed millage rate.
WorkSource Fulton staff join a number of local employers in training and preparing residents for new careers. I'm Brian Robinson and I've got a full report.
And patrons and staff of the Washington Park Library celebrate the grand reopening of their local branch. That and much more starts right now on Fulton Today. Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. We have important county news to share with you.
These boxes here are your tax bills. They're being dropped in the mail as we speak.
The Fulton County Tax Commissioner delivers what he says is good news for property owners and Fulton County government. Standing with county leadership, including Fulton's chairman, manager, and chief appraiser, Dr. Arthur Ferdinand says his office can now make his deadline to get those bills in the mail. Dr. Ferdinand says the timing of this billing is also good for the school system.
They may not have to borrow as much at this time because bills are going to be out there, and people who are conscious of school board's plight and love the school board could pay their bills right now.
The due date for City of Atlanta residents is Monday, September 30th. The deadline for Fulton County residents is Tuesday, October 15th. Fulton's county manager says this is also good news for the county's service delivery.
We're on schedule, so there'll be no disruption in services.
This announcement by the tax commissioner came just days after a DeKalb County senior magistrate judge issued a temporary collection order for Fulton County on Friday, August 9th. The City of Johns Creek's bills will be issued once that government sets its millage rate. Tax bills can be paid by mail or online by logging on to fultoncountytaxes.org. Fulton leaders take measures of their own to get people back to work by hosting a significant hiring event. That meant a number of people left the venue with a job. FGTV's Brian Robinson joins us now with more on how the county's WorkSource team was able to do this. Brian?
Shania, that event was called the Community Hiring, Education, and Provider Expo, and yes, it helped a number of local companies fill multiple job vacancies. The South Fulton Career Center was full of job seekers wanting to work in one of the most high-demand occupations in the state. From film to construction to healthcare, the goal of this expo, hosted by WorkSource Fulton, was to get residents trained and prepared for new careers.
So we're having our first quarterly expo, which includes providers for the WIOA training program and also a lot of employers that are located in the Atlanta metro area.
Whether they needed a job or wanted to enhance their skill set, residents took advantage of the opportunity to connect with one of over 40 WorkSource Fulton employers, providers, and partners that participated.
I think we all agree in today's world you have to know how to do something. A nice college degree up on the wall does not entail anything. But case in point, like our school, with training welders and HVAC people, training medical assistant and dental assistant and EMTs and paramedics, these are real jobs that are very much needed in our community.
According to the Georgia Department of Labor, the state's unemployment rate was down to 3.7% at the beginning of last month. Since this expo offered on-the-spot hiring, job seekers hope they can contribute to lowering that number even more.
As far as the job fair, I think it's awesome. I mean, they actually got, a lot of schools out here. They got a couple of, good industry companies that is out here that's, making job offers on the, they're making them on site. So, got the people filling out applications. I just recently filled out an application just now, so I think it's good.
Good for the county and its partners. Now, WorkSource Fulton officials say this is not the last of the community expos. Another one is scheduled for later this year in October. You can follow the county's website to get more details once they're posted. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Brian Robinson.
Thank you, Brian. Meanwhile, Fulton commissioners offer residents a chance to have their say about this year's proposed millage rate.
And the motion passes. 5 yeas, 1 nay.
That opportunity came during the Board of Commissioners' regular August meeting. At issue, the proposed millage rate of 9.89 mils.
Essentially, we are proposing the revenue neutral millage rate, the rollback rate for each of our tax-based funds. For the general fund, we're proposing a rate of 9.899, which is a 0.30 reduction from the 2018 level.
And you may recall the millage rate helps determine just how much you may have to pay in taxes later this year.
I think the fact that we had no public comment speaks volumes. Mad people tend to show up and let us know their thoughts on something. So I would assume that the silence here indicates that we're on the right path with the millage rate.
Fulton's finance team explains that a major factor in determining the 2019 millage rate revolves around the number of assessment notice appeals. This is the 5th consecutive year that the millage rate for Fulton County has been lowered. Leaving your car in an unattended area for an extended period of time will not be a smart idea starting next month. Fulton County Chief Magistrate Judge Cassandra Kirk and her staff hosted an abandoned motor vehicles informational session inside the Judge Romay T. Powell Juvenile Justice Center. The meeting follows a move by state lawmakers who reformed the abandoned motor vehicle statutes.
Those statutes are going to change as of September 1, 2019, and what we thought as a court is that the best way to put everybody on the same level playing field is just to do an overview of what has happened.
During the session, law enforcement and towing company personnel, as well as car owners, were all informed of their rights and responsibilities during abandoned motor vehicle proceedings within Fulton County.
The Towing and Recovery Association has worked really hard in the last couple of years to try to streamline the abandoned motor vehicle process. And in order to do so, we've worked with the Magistrate Council to make some changes where we're notifying lien holders sooner, we're notifying owners sooner. It's a quicker way to process abandoned vehicles.
Representatives from the Towing and Recovery Association say not only do they handle thousands of abandoned vehicles every day in Metro Atlanta, they also have become a public safety issue. Now, if you want details of the new law, check out the state legislature's website and look up House Bill 307. The Fulton Police Department creates a festival-like atmosphere for the community to address concerns about crime and police relations. FGTV's Daryl Carver has a wrap-up of this year's National Night Out.
You need a bag to put some more stuff in?
I don't think I got any room.
The parking lot of the Aviation Community Cultural Center was a showcase of Fulton County first responders and services during this year's National Night Out.
This is kind of a once-a-year statement of the interest not only on the part of the police, although they spearhead this, but the rest of Fulton County government. So we have folks out here representing the libraries, behavioral health, public health. So any of our services that citizens are interested in, they can find out about.
Along with learning about those services, guests took advantage of the opportunity to interact with Fulton's finest, from seeing the police helicopter in action to touring the department's mobile command center. The evening was all about building relationships.
As we've seen over the last several years about some of the issues that police departments have had in terms of the perception that the communities, different communities, have about policing. And this affords an opportunity for citizens to come out and really interact with police officers. We can tell them what our job entails. By the same token, we get the opportunity to see what some of their needs are.
Fulton practically credits its success with community policing and its successful training with the fact that the department is not dealing with the number of officer-involved shootings that other jurisdictions have had to deal with. This year alone, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has been asked to investigate nearly 50 officer-involved shootings. To help create a strong bond with the residents living in the Fulton Industrial District, Fulton Police and its partners did what they could to bring as many people as possible to this year's National Night Out. The Fulton County District Attorney and his team also spread out across the county for National Night Out to go one-on-one with residents.
Every little bit helps. Everybody's been very polite and kind and gentle. We had a lot of laughs.
Now that the laughs have been shared, residents and Fulton's finest hope an example has been set for the rest of the nation that it's possible to gather under positive circumstances. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Daryl Carver.
Great time. Thank you so much, Daryl. Meanwhile, the Fulton County Youth Commission is in the final stages of determining its leaders for next year. These high school students who applied to be youth commissioners were among the finalists invited to take part in the second round of interviews at the Government Center in downtown Atlanta. During the in-person interview, the candidates were asked a series of questions from current commissioners about their desire to be a youth commissioner. The interviewees were evaluated by the answers they provided.
And we asked them questions about how they're going to help with the Fulton County Youth Commission, why we should pick them and things like that. And then we're going to evaluate them based on that.
I love this experience so much because there's really nothing like it out there. It gives me a chance to actually participate in government and help people like me, youth, in this specific area.
From appearing before Fulton's leadership to explain why Georgia's dropout age should be raised, to bringing hope to the less fortunate, Fulton's youth commissioners help develop leadership and service skills. The final decision for next year's Youth Commission will be made this week. Great program. And still to come on Fulton Today, making sure youngsters had what they needed to get ready for class this week. It's a part of our district by district coverage. Next. Fulton voters get a reminder about the deadline this week for those wanting to cast a ballot in the upcoming special election, and one commissioner makes sure students in his district were ready for class. Here's this week's district by district coverage. District 5 Commissioner Marvin Arrington Jr. put smiles on the faces of kids and parents as they pick out school supplies for this new year. One of the final It Takes a Village giveaway stops was at the Wolf Creek Library. The commissioner and his community partners made sure that Fulton County students were prepared for this first week.
It is just a pleasure to be able to give back. To whom much is given, much is expected. And I'm just blessed to be able to have the opportunity to be in a position to help give back to those that need book bags, school supplies. We want to make sure that our students are ready on day one.
I think it's good because, a lot of people can't afford, things for their kids to go back to school. So it's awesome that the commissioner is doing a free event to help those in need.
Fulton County Schools is the 4th largest school system in Georgia. And during this 2019-20 school year, over 93,000 students will attend classes in 59 elementary schools, 19 middle schools, and 18 high schools. A reminder for District 6 voters, the deadline to register to vote in next month's special election is Monday, August 19th. The September election will determine the next District 6 commissioner and the next District 2 Atlanta School Board member. Election officials say if you have had a change in status, like an address change or a new married name since you last voted, then you will need to register to vote once again.
People can register to vote for the September Commissioner District 6 election and the Atlanta Public Schools District 2 election, either online. They can go and use Oliver, which is the state site. It's the online voter registration system. They can also go to the Department of Driver Services if they have to update their driver's license, and that automatically registers them. They can also stop by our office, fill out a paper application. There are other ways that they can register to vote. You can go to libraries or city halls, and those have voter registration applications as well.
The District 6 special election will fill the Fulton County Commission seat left vacant following the death of longtime Commissioner Emma I. Darnell. For registration and election information, just visit fultonelections.com. Now you can catch more of your commissioners at work all this week with a rebroadcast of the Board of Commissioners meeting right here on FGTV. And up next on Fulton Today, the county's HIV and AIDS Advisory Committee hears what the community has to say about ending the HIV epidemic. We'll take a listen. Stay with us, everybody. Fulton's official committee appointed to help end the HIV and AIDS epidemic convenes with the public to work on its mission with the clock ticking. FGTV's Melissa Lewis explains.
It was the time for the community to share ideas with the Fulton County HIV/AIDS Advisory Committee about HIV/AIDS. The community listening session at the Southside Medical Center was planned to hear directly from the community on barriers to and recommendations for local efforts to end the HIV epidemic in Metro Atlanta.
So it was very informative just listening to the community, and it was encouraging because truly we're both on the same page. We want the same things, we want to be successful, we want to make sure everyone is included, and we want to break down silos.
While the committee wanted to hear from the community, members also wanted the community to hear from professionals well-versed on the issue of HIV/AIDS, representatives from the Health and Human Services Office and the CDC.
We had federal partners here to listen to what our community has to say about things like community engagement, getting into care. How do you get into care, stay in care? Prevention, testing, and what we heard was a lot about things other than the usual business of HIV testing and care.
Metro Atlanta has the 4th highest rate of new HIV diagnoses among metro areas in the U.S. Fulton County ranked 6th highest for new HIV diagnoses among all counties in the U.S.
We cannot end the epidemic if we do not have a lot of very genuine community involvement. So tonight was the first step in making sure we have that. People need the ability to speak out, share their experiences, share their expertise on this issue.
Fulton's advisory committee is hoping this End the Epidemic community listening session is just where not only the conversation, but also the solution begins. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Melissa Lewis.
Thank you very much, Melissa. Meanwhile, an annual rite of summer passage ends with hundreds of county residents getting free fruit and vegetables. Fulton's Fresh Mobile Market wrapped up its season following numerous stops all around the county. Staff with the Cooperative Extension Service office visited over a dozen different locations each week since May to offer the fresh produce and to teach residents about healthy cooking and eating.
We absolutely love our community, and we love hearing the support that they give us and coming out and expressing how much they genuinely appreciate the class and how much, you know, they get out of the class, because it makes our jobs a lot easier when they're enjoying it and, you know, coming back week after week.
During each stop, residents had to participate in the educational sessions offered by the Cooperative Extension agents before they could get the free fruit and vegetables.
It's a wonderful program. Honestly, I got some recipes that I have never, ever heard or seen of before, and they were delicious and inexpensive. It's a beautiful program.
I learned tips in how to eat healthier. I learned it's important to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. And I teach my grandbaby the same thing.
County leaders say they plan on bringing back the popular program later in the year and then, of course, next summer. And up next on Fulton Today, county staff and residents celebrate the grand reopening of the Washington Park Library. Stay with us. Well, Fulton County plays host to a group of international visitors. A delegation from the Dominican Republic wanted to learn just how the county does business. The group of government procurement officials visited with representatives from Fulton's Department of Purchasing and Contract Compliance. Through a translator, the delegation heard about the county's procurement practices and policies. Both sides learned a great deal about each other.
One of the things I learned today that they do not do in the Dominican Republic is the utilization of subcontractors and how we take care of our subcontractors and how we monitor their progress on job sites.
This is the first time representatives from another country have visited the county's Department of Purchasing and Contract Compliance to learn about the county's procurement process. The department has been recognized by the National Institute of Governmental Purchasing, and a delegation from Kenya is also expected to visit later this year. And finally, another ribbon-cutting ceremony signals a new beginning for a reopened county library, this time the Washington Park branch. County leaders and staff, as well as Washington Park patrons, were all on hand to celebrate the joyous occasion. The reopening celebration included a tour of the new facility located on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Southwest Atlanta.
Libraries, again, are important. In spite of technology, in spite of IT, in spite of telephones and cell phones and web pages and all of that stuff, a library is still important.
We are in a legacy community. This area has not had an upgrade in their library for 27 years, so this is a transformational project. This will bring the community together. It will also serve the youth in this community.
The Washington Park Library now features technological upgrades, enclosed study rooms, a children's area with flexible seating, an expandable meeting room, and, of course, a quiet reading lounge.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love the architecture and the new technology, and it just seems really splendid.
I think it is excellent that this library is open, it's fresh, it's new, it's got a better internet connection, and it's brighter spaces so people can see better when they come in here to read, and it's actually very welcoming.
This is the 7th library in Phase 2 of the library building program to reopen. Coming up next week on Fulton Today, we'll take you to the grand reopening of the Dogwood Library. And before we go, our reminder that FGTV wants to connect with you online. Be sure to follow FGTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for up-to-date Fulton County news. And of course, you can watch a replay of this show and any other FGTV program anytime on our YouTube channel, so please subscribe. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.